Well, I think we'll get started. It's 8:35 here in night in Alberta. It's 9:35 in the morning in Kazakhstan. So good morning to Kazakhstan and good evening to the Canadians. My name is Frank Kentz. I'm the regional director of the Canada Eurasia Chamber of Commerce Alberta chapter, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar. Just wanted to give a few general housekeeping things for you to be aware of. The agenda and the profiles of the speakers are all available on the website. And I think in a minute, Vera can put it in your chat if you want to link back to that as people are speaking. The program tonight is about 90 minutes. We have 11 presentations, so we do need to be cautious of our time, especially for those that's getting to be late at night. All the presentations are recorded. The whole event's being recorded, and the presentations, if available from the presenters, will be available to all of you and to all the registrants for the event. So you don't have to worry about making notes quickly as people are speaking, because they're going to be summarizing their slides as opposed to speaking to each slide to keep within the 5 minutes. We have simultaneous translation available, English to Russian. If you look at the bottom of your screen, there is a globe map. If you choose 1 for Russian and for English and 2 is Russian, then you can do the interpretation. Presenters are asked to speak somewhat slowly so that the translator can sort of keep up with you as well. We will present a summary of our discussions at the plenary session of the Kazakhstan-Canada Business Council, which is taking place on Sunday, March the 3rd. And the co-chairs, myself, will be doing the review. Again, 2 slides on the basis of our discussions here tonight so that we can present that to the general plenary session. If you have questions, please use the chat box below. We're going to run through all the presentations entirely without stopping for questions to keep an eye on the time. But please put your questions in the chat below and we'll try to address them at the end of our session, some of them. If you have detailed questions, please email them to me. My email is on the website that I can then forward your question or point to whoever you're interested in addressing, if you let me know who it is for. Because again, we don't have a lot of time to spend a lot on questions and answers, and some questions and answers may be somewhat detailed, and I don't want you to lose the chance to hear some responses. I guess it's worth pointing out, we want to thank very much the 2 big sponsors of this event, Cameco in Saskatchewan and Kazatomprom, who have been the general supporters and sponsors of the Kazakhstan-Canada Business Council for the last several years. So we much appreciate their support. I think I've captured all the points I wanted to make. Our first person is going to speak. I'm very pleased to introduce Ms. Margaret Scott. Again, her profile is on the website, but she's currently the senior fellow at Carleton University. But she also has finished a 40 years career with the Government of Canada, including being Ambassador of Canada to Kazakhstan some years ago. But that gave her an opportunity to know the country, to know the people, the culture, and certainly the economic situation. So Margaret, welcome, and please take it over.
Merci, bonjour, bonsoir. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Long time ago, somebody told me when I was a bit younger that geography does matter, and it does. I'm just wondering if we can put the map up of Central Asia, Vera or Frank, who has it? Yeah. Thank you so much. I was in all of the former Soviet countries in 91, 92 and onwards. And these are old trading nations, but it was amazing that after 91, Kazakhstan stepped forward very quickly to start negotiating new partners in the West, in the East, to the South. Early in its independence as well, Kazakhstan negotiated with its neighbors, began negotiating land border demarcation and marine delimitation to be enshrined in their constitution. Almost all of those negotiations but one are finished. This is important in terms of territorial integrity. Since 91, they have also amazingly started an aggressive pattern of reform. and in all spheres of their economy, in the public service, in civil society. It became a natural partner for Canada, both in terms of the comparative advantage of our natural resources, climate zones, large territory, the size of Ontario and Quebec, and yet a relatively small population. The difference, of course, is Canada has an aging population, whereas Kazakhstan has a well-educated young one. The size made infrastructure a must. In order to contribute to the economy, which contributes to security, goods and commodities need not only to be produced, but they need to be exported. They need to move. So infrastructure, long before One Belt, One Road initiative happened. Early on, I must say that the reforms were very aggressive, and they focused on rural and the agricultural sectors to ensure that the economic benefits were not only to the urban centers, but also to the north. And it addressed the issues of food security and also I have to say that it was also in terms of moving the capital to the north. It also ensured population of the north part of Kazakhstan, which many forget was ceded in 1800s to Kazakhstan. So this was extremely important. Canada's first bilateral line of credit to Kazakhstan was with the Canadian Wheat Board. And later on, we expanded our agricultural interests to machinery and later bovine genetics. And as Kazakhstan moved from dual purpose animals, we introduced some of our Canadian genetics to ensure, and they have now amazing beef and dairy cattle. The bilateral cooperation has grown beyond the first sectors of expansion. And the challenges, environmental, technological, and the considerations and opportunities are immense. The lineup of experts and expert speakers today is amazing, and they will address, and they're going, from what I've seen in the summaries, a very comprehensive approach to what our issues are today and what the opportunities will be. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Margaret. Margaret has been a big part of the CECC Board of Directors nationally. Has been very instrumental in assisting us in identifying issues, and also her network has been much appreciated. Thank you very much. And that was a nice lead-in to our presentations tonight. We have two co-chairs, Erij Bashir, formerly with the Alberta government and the Department of Forestry and Agriculture. But during his time as a senior development officer, he spent many seasons going to Kazakhstan with trade missions for both to and from Kazakhstan and Canada. So he knows the country very well and has a close affinity to want to stay in touch. And even though he's no longer directly involved with Kazakhstan, I still draw on him for his information, resources, and network. So thank you, Erij. The second co-chair from Kazakhstan is Marat Bekshotanov, who is currently in New York, so he's in the evening time zone, and he's CEO with Geobox, and he's going to make a very interesting presentation as a lead-in to the other presentations a little bit later. I'm going to ask the co-chairs next to say a few words, and then they will introduce the speakers. Erij will introduce the Canadian speakers, and Marat will introduce the Kazakh speakers. Erij, over to you.
Thanks, Frank. Again, very exciting to be here. Good morning to all my friends and colleagues in Kazakhstan, and good evening to all our viewers, listeners, as well as panelists from Canada. I know it's quite late, so appreciate the extra effort. As Frank mentioned, I have worked in the area of promoting agricultural trade between Canada and Kazakhstan for over 10 years, and I've had my fair share of beshbarmak and lagman. I do miss the great Kazakh food and the great hospitality that has been shown to me over the number of years, and I wish I'll get a chance to come back to the country sometime soon. I want to mention that there is a renewed focus on what we call the fourth digital revolution in agriculture, and I believe there are tremendous opportunities in this sector for both Canada and Kazakhstan. We have a variety of proven technologies in Canada that can help support the digitization of agriculture sector in Kazakhstan and really focus on the use of data, use of uh, other analytics to find the optimal production technologies and reach the optimal outcomes. As we know, the world is moving towards sustainability with a focus on climate smart agriculture. I believe that both countries are very well positioned to take advantage of the collaborative opportunities that are present in this sector. We have a great lineup of companies today from both sides that are working in this field, and I hope that will inspire some ideas, thoughts, and probably include some follow up in terms of real opportunities for collaboration. This also provides a segue into the introduction of my co-chair, Murad Beksultanov, who is the head of one of the most exciting ag tech companies called GeoBox. So I will let Murad talk more about it, and you will keep hearing from me time and time again.
Thank you, Arch. Thank you, Frank. It's an honor to be here. We have a great lineup of speakers from both sides, as Arch mentioned. And my company, GeoBox, we're actively engaged in Central Asia, working in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan with the governments, basically delivering geospatial solutions that help local policymakers manage natural resources in a more informed and data-driven manner. With that, I prepared a short presentation that hopefully will touch upon many of the topics that will be covered later on today by the speakers from both Canada and Kazakhstan. And without further ado, let me just start this presentation. Please confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes.
Can I be okay? So I'd like to start with a general overview of Kazakhstan and opportunities in agriculture in Kazakhstan. As most of you know, Kazakhstan has a continental climate, which is varies sharply in terms of weather variations from north to south, and most of the territory of Kazakhstan is either semi-arid or arid, with the southern parts are that are hyper-arid. With this climatic climatic factors basically determine the type of cropping systems that Kazakhstan develops both in the north and the south. And if we can look at the map of crop map, as you can see, the crops are here designated by the light yellow. You can see that the northern part is represented by mostly cereals that are rain-fed, and as you can see, this is the semi-arid area. In the south, we have a lot of vegetable production, some cotton production, and rice. And those are located in a hyper-arid and arid climate, which is heavily reliant on irrigation. So this actually also corresponds with the precipitation map. This is an annual precipitation map of Kazakhstan. As you can see, the the amount of rainfall that Kazakhstan gets is varies significantly from depending on where you are in the country, and obviously the northern parts get more precipitation, and the southern parts are very water deficient. In terms of water resources, most of the major rivers that come to Kazakhstan are transboundary, as you can see on this map. They originate from outside of Kazakhstan, so Kazakhstan has no control of the amount of water that discharge that it receives, and that further stresses water resources and water availability in the country due to the expanding agricultural use and energy use in the neighboring countries. So we will cover that later with some of the speakers who will address the water issue in more detail. In terms of animal production, historically Kazakhstan has been producing this nomadic people have been producing various types of livestock, primarily sheep and horses. And in the Soviet times, the sheep production was close to about 36 million heads annually. And then in the 90s, with the drop of dissolution of the Soviet Union, that figures dropped significantly, as you can see here, and then started to slowly recover over the course of the independent state of Kazakhstan. The next visible production is cattle production. As Margaret mentioned, Kazakhstan has been very active in trying to restore population and headcount of cattle. If you can see again, there was a dramatic drop in the headcount, and it's just slowly recovering to pre-Soviet time counts. Now, the pig production has been historically something that Kazakhstan has been producing during the Soviet Union. But then, due to various factors, including cultural factors, the pig production has dropped to almost non-existent currently. The other notable production is horses. As most of you know, horses are not only used for riding in Kazakhstan, but also as food. And some, significant amount of horse meat gets exported as well to other countries. So that has been on the rise steadily over the course of the independent years of Kazakhstan. And another interesting chart is a camel production. Camels in Kazakhstan are used also for not only for transportation but also for as a source of protein. So that has been also on the rise of recent. In terms of crop production, the major production is cereals. So that has been on a steady rise since about the mid 2000s. It's been on an up and downs. We'll cover the crop production a bit later in this presentation. I'll touch upon the wheat production specifically, but some of the interesting charts would include potato production. We have a speaker that will cover that in detail, and potato growers have been very successful in terms of restoring this industry. The amount of production has been steadily rising. Yields have been rising due to the investments and in seed quality and agronomical practices that these potato growers employ during their course of growing these crops. Oil seeds have been also on a steady rise due to increasing demand from neighboring countries. That is also one of the I would say more successful segments of the crop production. Vegetables have been historically produced in the southern regions, so that is also something that's driven by demand from especially from Russia and some neighboring countries. Another interesting crop is sugar beets. Sugar beet production has been very steady during the Soviet Union. Then it dropped, and then it was on the up and downs. And the government is making efforts to restore the sugar beet production in the country, as of recent. What happens in Kazakhstan and what the biggest opportunity lies in terms of agriculture production is China. China has been increasingly looking at Central Asia as a breadbasket. And as you can see, the amount of imports from Kazakhstan of agriculture production have been on a steady rise since about the early 2000s. Kazakhstan is by far the largest producer and supplier of agricultural products to China. And if we we'll touch upon the Chinese demand a bit later, but I want you to remember this chart for future reference.
Marat, excuse me, Marat. I think we need to sort of go on from the. It's been more than 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm wrapping up. I'm wrapping
yeah.
up. So where the opportunities are for crop production in Kazakhstan, especially wheat production, is the increase in yields and and seeds, seed quality. If you look, for example, at China as a producer, as a top producer of wheat, they've been growing production, reducing the number of acreage, and increasing the yields of wheat in the country. But if you look at Kazakhstan, the picture is starkly different. We have ups and downs due to the rain-fed nature of the agriculture of wheat production. We have increase in the acreage and decrease in the quality of yield and the yield itself. So that is definitely an opportunity for cooperation in this sector. I have 2 more slides and I'm wrapping up. So this chart actually is going back to the production and demand from China as the biggest opportunity for for agricultural production. Is if you look at the demand from China for animal protein, you can see that it's been on a steady rise due to the increase in incomes in China, and that is definitely one of the biggest markets and the biggest opportunity for agricultural production. So this is my last slide, and I want you to just visualize this. This is the border of China and Kazakhstan. This is the Ili River, and on the Chinese side, you can see how much expansion of agricultural production is happening, and this is the Kazakh side where you can see almost none of it. So there's opportunity for exports of this agricultural production to the biggest consumer and the biggest neighbor in this region. That wraps up my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marat, for that amazing presentation. I think when I was looking at what you were explaining about Kazakh agriculture sector, coming from Alberta, there were a lot of similarities. So I can definitely see a lot of opportunities in collaboration between the 2 countries. Now, I would like to introduce our first Canadian speaker, Dr. Richard Paisley, who is a practicing lawyer and the director of Global Transboundary International Water Governance Initiative at the prestigious University of British Columbia. Richard, take it away, please.
Yeah, hopefully you can see my screen now.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, well, privet, everyone. You're right. I'm going to talk a little bit today about Central Asia, Kazakhstan, and shared international waters. But I think I'll begin that by giving you my upfront messages up front. Whoops. First of all, a disclaimer. I do a lot of work for the United Nations and the World Bank, but everything I'm going to tell you today is based on my personal opinion of things and doesn't in any way reflect or shouldn't reflect what they have to say about these matters. I've had the privilege of working in Central Asia generally since 2001, so over 20 years, and all of my work has involved water and international waters and climate change and trying to negotiate agreements between countries for sharing and more sustainable management of international waters. My key messages are very simply, one, that climate change, as many of you well know, is the ultimate threat multiplier. That if climate change is a shark, then water resources are the teeth on that shark. And if you forget everything else I tell you, you'll probably remember that little phrase. The water crisis in Central Asia generally is worsening and worsening at an increasing rate. And I'll talk a little bit about that. And then finally, and I think most importantly, Kazakhstan has an increasingly important role to play in helping to govern shared international waters in Central Asia, and that includes Afghanistan in a sustainable way. All of the initiatives that I've had the privilege of being involved in Central Asia to try to make Central Asia water resources more sustainable and better governed, Kazakhstan has played the lead role in all of them, seriously. Whether it was IFAS or it was the United Nations Regional Center for Preventive Diplomacy or it was the World Bank, it was always Kazakhstan that played that key role. It wasn't Uzbekistan, it wasn't Turkmenistan, it wasn't any of the other stands, it wasn't Afghanistan, it was always Kazakhstan. So this is a map, an older map, but it does show the change in agricultural productivity between 2003 and the 2080s and projecting forward. The takeaway message from this map is very simply that the world is a very changing place, and agricultural productivity generally has been falling significantly in a band that includes Central Asia. I said earlier that climate change was the ultimate threat multiplier. Water, in some people's minds, is a harbinger of bad things. People fighting over water, people starting water wars, and that sort of thing. I see it more or equally as a catalyst for peace, an opportunity to use it as an entry point for negotiating agreements and reaching agreements between countries that might not otherwise be reached. But transboundary water management, the previous speaker alluded to the fact that virtually every river in Central Asia is transboundary in nature. So that's a very important factor. I said that if climate change is a shark, water resources are the teeth. And now I'll illustrate that with a map from Central Asia. This is an older map from Central Asia, but essentially shows the two big rivers that matter in Central Asia, the Sir Daira, which Kazakhstan has a very real interest in, and the Amu Darya River, which flows also from Afghanistan through past Tajikistan into Uzbekistan and then ends up in Turkmenistan. Both of those rivers, I'm sure, as you are well know, used to flow into the Aral Sea. So in the classic sense, they are international rivers, international watercourses, because they share or shared a common terminus. Now, what's interesting about this map, it's kind of cool, it shows the diminishing supply of water as you go down the stream, as people extract water all the way down the line. And in particular, it also shows things like the Karakum Canal, which the Turkmenistan has used to drain significant water out of the Amu Darya. What's interesting about that is that there are certain water distribution plans that were drawn up by the Soviet Union. And what's interesting about those plans, this is for the Amu Darya, is they gave an overwhelming percentage of the water in the river to Uzbekistan, a somewhat lesser percentage to the Kyrgyz Republic, and a big hunk of the water as well to Turkmenistan. What's interesting here is that those numbers are kind of thrown out by climate change. Those numbers, they built their projections either rightly or wrongly on water flows that don't exist anymore. They're significantly less now. But these are the kind of expectations that people in Uzbekistan and Tajikistan and the Kyrgyz Republic and Turkmenistan have. These kinds of percent, even though that the actual amounts are significantly less than they were. But that's not all. What's happening now is that on that slide I showed earlier, there are a number of key things that are happening. Diminished water supply. Whoop. What's going on here? Here we go. Okay. Diminished water supply is one thing, but there are some things that are happening in these areas as well. Tajikistan, for example, is building a huge dam called the Ragun Dam on a river, the Vash River, which flows into the Amu Darya. And then most interestingly and most poignantly right now, the Afghans are building a giant canal called the Koshtipa Canal, which will take a huge, possibly huge. Nobody's quite sure too much about the Koshtipa Canal, but a significant amount of water out of the river. And this is the first time the Afghans have ever extracted a significant amount of water out of the river, but that will have ramifications all the way down the line. And already the energy and the imagination and attention of Uzbekistan and of Turkmenistan has been captured by this Koch-Tipa Canal. And it looks like it's only the opening salvo by the Afghans in attempting to take a much higher percentage of water generally. So what's the takeaway from all this? Well, I'm back to two things. One, Kazakhstan always has had, and I hope will continue to have, a key role in helping to moderate and mediate and act as a source of information and a third party that can help the countries come to some sort of agreement. And more than ever before, it underscores the need to have a comprehensive agreement in Central Asia that includes Afghanistan, as difficult and challenging as that is. Otherwise, the agricultural production, which is so dependent on water in all of these countries, including Kazakhstan, is going to become significantly diminished over time. And it's only a matter of time before that happens. So the irony, of course, here is in the short term, with the glaciers melting, it looks like there's lots of water, or it might look like there's lots of water, but that's only going to persist for a very short time, and then things are going to become much more accentuated. So that's my message, that there's a lot to think about, but now is the time for Kazakhstan and other progressive thinking people in Central Asia to work together to try to come up with a better way of sustainably managing these two huge rivers. Thank you very much. Spasibo.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard. Marat, will you introduce the next speaker?
Yes. Thank you. We're not honored to have as the next speaker Alia Swanova from ITAS Agro LLP. Alia is a professional marketer, researcher, and strategic consultant with rich background in marketing and social research agencies who perform significant roles in agribusiness. And she has extensive expertise in strategic consulting that is invaluable to the industry. So, Alia.
Thank you for such a presentation. My name is Alia Svanova. It's a great honor for me to be a part of this meeting today. I'm a director for strategy and marketing in ITAS Agro. ITAS Agro is a crop production farm in Kazakhstan. I'm trying to share with my presentation with you. Do you see it? We are a part of big ITAS KZ holding. The main business is poultry. As Marat showed you on his presentation, it's a raising business in Kazakhstan. The main vision of our holding is to serve the people of Kazakhstan, and that's why we make a little more than just most of the farmers in Kazakhstan. For example, for today, the sustainable agriculture is a very key topic for us, and we see that we can do it in three ways. The first is to use as most efficient as we can the non-renewable resources, and we do it through digitalization and the raising of human capital in our country, not only in ITAS holding, but also for all farmers in Kazakhstan. We are trying to enhance our environmental quality. We are caring about soil health and sustainable crop rotation, etc. And the new topic that we are thinking about is better carbon sequestration practices, and that is one of the questions I want to raise today. And we are trying to make better the quality of life of farmers in all the society and communities that live not far from our farms. For today, we think that we are the most digitalized agro holding in Kazakhstan. We use a wide range of modern digital solutions that we can see all our machines online and every time. You can see the range of all the solutions that we have in our holding, and we are always looking for some new digital solutions, and that is our field of our interests. And I hope that Canadian colleagues could help us to find something new and efficient for us. This is examples of some digital solutions that we have. The precision variable rate application approach, and we saw difference of seeds on the different part of field that we saw our logotype in fields. This is the pictures that we could see from the space, the logotype of ITAS in 2022 and 2023. It's just to demonstrate the instrument for all other farmers in Kazakhstan that we can do it, and we share all our practices and all our experience and expertise with all other farmers on all the conferences and exhibitions and wherever we can, just to show them that this approach could be efficient in Kazakhstan. Also, we are bringing new genetics, especially of cereals and oilseed crops, especially sunflower in Kazakhstan. And this is our question to Canadian colleagues too. As you know, the Canada is kind of paradise lost for all the Kazakh farmers, because we have rather similar climate conditions and pretty different performance results. And the modern genetics is the one way to bring this performance to Kazakh farmers. Also, as I previously said, we are caring about the community we work in. In last year, we started the project agricultural.kz. It's a non-commercial project to raising up agri talents in Kazakhstan. We are trying to unite all Kazakh agri players to train them, to educate, to show them better agrarian practice with different international players. We have had a meeting and negotiations with the Saskatchewan University, Saskatchewan Polytechnic, to have some trainings in Kazakhstan for Kazakh agri students. So what we are looking for, it's a new varieties, new genetics for our own production, and to raise them and to breed them and to sell it to Kazakh farmers. The key crops for us is the spring wheat, sunflower, and sorghum and soybean. We are looking for new digital solutions that could be efficient for us and for all the Kazakh farmers. The new topic that we are raising is the carbon sequestration. We are looking for methodology for verification and some platforms to sell the carbon credits and to promote this idea for all other Kazakh farmers. Also, we are looking for partners for our education project, AgriScian. We need agri experts to train Kazakh students and Kazakh teachers. We need companies to equip our colleges, especially colleges, with hardware. We are looking for new networks and for funding to make this project real.
Thank you, Aliyah.
I guess that's all.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Aliyah. It was a great presentation. I think we can move on to the next speaker, Harij.
Yeah, thank you so much, Aliyah. And you mentioned you're looking for partners. I think it's a good segue into our next speaker. I would like to invite Andrew Pilipchik of Earth Daily Agro to join us. Earth Daily is a company that provides space age data and analytics for organizations, and people who feed the planet. Andrew, please take it away.
Thank you very much. Let's get this full screen here. It's a pleasure to speak with all of you, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Earth Daily Agro is a 35-year-old ag tech startup that was founded out of France in Europe, formerly known as Geosys. We are currently now a Canadian company, partnered with our parent company in Vancouver, British Columbia, and we are truly global in presence and nature. We have customers and clients in over 50 countries around the world. We have offices in all the continents, and serving customers of all types in the agribusiness, from seed and chemical organizations to cooperatives, like our former presentation, to equipment companies, commodity traders, and sustainability, food and beverage type companies. Our company is really founded around agriculture. The people in our company are all coming from an agriculture background that use technology to do the job. And so we all have very much a passion for space, passion for bringing new solutions to agriculture, but our roots are coming from ag. Our parent company in Vancouver is building new satellites that are launching this year. This is a very big year for us as a team, and these satellites will be the first commercial satellites to offer daily imagery collected all over the world in multiple spectral bands. So from a satellite imagery point of view, this is the first time we'll be able to collect visual data, near-infrared data, shortwave infrared data, and thermal data all at the same time on a single series of satellites. The other big thing that this brings to the market is the everyday collection. This means that customers do not need to call us to acquire data. Data will be collected everywhere, all the time, passively. And this really allows customers to look at their problems rather than to worry about when a satellite will be ordered and when images are collected. Besides cloud cover, you can be assured that we'll have data, historical and future, with this type of capability, which really changes the way you can use this type of information. As we think about how we take space age data like the satellite imagery and apply it to agriculture, we say agriculture is a global thing, but agronomy is very local. And so as we've seen in the presentations already today, how agriculture is applied within Kazakhstan and Central Asia is very different than, say, in the United States, Canada, or Europe. There are many similarities, but at the end of the day, local agronomy, local economics, local, things like the water management have a huge impact in how farmers and growers can actually produce a crop and bring it to market. Some of the analytics that we offer to our customers are really founded around large area row crops. So as we think about cereals, corn, soybean, cotton, and oil seeds and sunflowers, these are typical of our customers because they require large areas to grow, and that's very well suited for satellite imagery, which can collect vast areas very quickly. As we get into specialty crops, these new satellites that we are bringing to market will have a higher spatial resolution, which will allow us to address things like potatoes or sugarcane or cocoa or even vegetables. But historically speaking, in our 30 years of existence, it's really been around the corn and soybeans and cereals and oil seeds where we've served customers. Also, pasture and rangelands, of course, fall into that same category of large area coverage. But these are typical of our market and analytics. As we look to the future, absolutely, our previous speaker here touched on a great topic of carbon sequestration, carbon accounting, biodiversity, and many of the new topics that are being considered as it comes to agriculture. and we're seeing a lot of innovation around these things. As you begin to learn about any analytics or data sets, of course, ground truth data is the key to bringing any of these products to market. And so working with the folks in Kazakhstan will allow us to take these models and apply them to those areas. But coming to a close of my presentation, the markets that we look to enable and serve is really that digital agriculture, precision agriculture, providing field analytics, farm analytics, or even analytics at the regional state level. For fintech, lending and insurance, we provide these types of information to allow folks to do claims management, monitor compliance with loans, monitor compliance with regulations, and allow these industries to monitor where their investments are going with greater efficiency, and data that's recorded that can be presented to both parties. And finally, commodities tradings and logistics is another very common use case where, again, we see crop type ID, yield prediction, and monitoring at a global level to understand how various countries interact and play in the global markets to drive food security and pricing around agricultural products. And with that, I'll bring my presentation to a close. It's been my pleasure to speak to you about our upcoming satellites and the analytics that we provide around agriculture. Please, any questions in the chat would be great, and my contact information is available. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. It's been a great presentation. I think we're doing great on time. I just like to remind speakers to be on a 5-minute limit. With that, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Ashat Janibekov, who's a graduate of Wageningen University and Research, and co-founder and head of agri-tech startup comng, specializing in precision livestock farming. And their work in developing a remote monitoring system for farm animals is at the forefront of agricultural innovation. Ashat, please, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. Glad to be here today. Good evening, good night to Canada, and good morning to Kazakhstan. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So we are agri-tech company Kalmas, and we are active in Kazakhstan. Our goal is Central Asia, and we believe that future of livestock farming, especially like this free grazing, like in this area, and sustainability of this area of farming can depend in the future from precision livestock farming, from smart farming, and we are active in this area. So before going to entire presentation, let me bring you to Kazakh steppes, where two farmers discuss the problems. Yes, veterinary is a problem, and control of animals in non-fenced steppes, and very low calf crop ratio. And these problems are similar to many farmers in Kazakhstan. And if industry average for cow farmers, smallholder cow farmers, is to produce 80 cows out of 100, in Kazakhstan it's very pretty low, like at winning calf crop rate, while in countries with developed cattle livestock sector it's up to 90% and higher. And all this inefficiency bring to almost $500 million loss per annum for Kazakhstan in terms of calf crop. And if you go to smallholder farmers, it's still problems with recordings, primitive or no records at all. It's problems to follow without technical procedures, and to provide good veterinary service. Sometimes it's almost not available. Also problems with workers. And all these problems go by the supply chain to feedlots. And feedlots sometimes obtain not preconditioned with poor genetics calves. And also this not efficiency brings sometimes high mortality and morbidity rate. And of course, this is not good in terms of food security, consumer trust, and entire the efficiency development of this livestock sector. And we decided to, okay, what is the root problem? And we found out, and we started from the identification and traceability. Even farmers, they have tags, they have even RFID tags. The entire recording and working with this data is still a problem. And our solution is to bring farmers livestock farm management platform. We came up to this with managing many farms, and that data need to be collected and analyzed, and from the farms, from many equipment, and also on top we add service, and that gives some efficiency and traceability to the to the entire supply chain. And if you go to livestock cattle market in Kazakhstan, so we can divide this market for three main parts, like households, specialized professional farms, and agri holdings. And yeah, we target last two groups. And I can give you also a good example of cooperation between Canada and Kazakhstan. We started recently with Canadian precision livestock farming herd whistle, and we agreed to having this support and working with this company. And in the future, we want to add hardware to our platform and to bring some good insights, to localized insights to our farmers. And in the future, deeper cooperation, integration in terms of research, business development. And yeah, Kazakhstan is a pretty big country. It's like 3.7 times larger. Canada is 3 times larger, but it's like bringing province, for instance, Alberta, Saskatchewan to Central Asia, to the border of China, and to these big markets of Central Asia in terms of the climate and opportunities. And so one of the examples that we are doing is a stressless remote cattle identification and cattle monitoring. We are now working on this project together with Herd Whistle. Pretty interesting solution for farmers, especially for cow farmers and pasture-based, in order to control remotely cattle. So this is one of the not presented well in this area M2M solutions. And yeah, we have strong team, company that founded by me and Arman, IT specialist and me responsible for business, and we have good advisors and partners. And we were active last 2-3 years managing and working with farmers, and also working in the lamb project, exporting to Gulf area. And currently we started a big project with one of the trend makers in the livestock farming Terra group. And yeah, and I would like to end my presentation with a quote from a study of Food and Agriculture Organization, that efficiency of cattle farming operations is a key to improve social, economic, and environmental impact. And we need to use the existing best practices and technologies. And this is actually what we are doing now to bring livestock farming in Central Asia and Kazakhstan to new sustainable level, to make it more profitable to farmers, and to disclose the great potential of livestock farming in Kazakhstan. Thank you very much.
Well, excellent presentation. Thank you so much. And I'm glad to see collaboration with Herd Whistle already, which livestock center is very close to my heart. So I'm really happy to see these collaborations. We're going to switch the topics a little bit. I'm going to invite the next speaker, Professor Dr. Ludovic Capocici, who is the professor and researcher at the University of Alberta. His work focuses on innovation in genetics and breeding in the crop sector. And he was also in Kazakhstan recently visiting an agrarian university. Dr. Ludovic, please take it away.
Thank you very much, John. I'm trying to show my slide. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see your slides. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm Ludovic. I'm a researcher at the University of Alberta, And then one of the guys who had very, a passion for applied agricultural research. So when we talk about agricultural research, usually it requires environment and genetic material and other stuff. So from there, I'm gonna jump to Canada and Kazakhstan. So Canada and Kazakhstan have they are natural partners for similar with very similar climatic and soil condition. So given that they have the similarity between Canada and Kazakhstan, it's very easy that the experience in Canada be integrated in Kazakhstan. So if you look at, for example, the chart right here for wheat production in Canada and Kazakhstan, we are doing very well in Canada compared to Kazakhstan, but we do have the same environment. So something needs to be done in Kazakhstan, to bring up the productivity. So both countries, we have some target goal. And as we know, the world population is growing very fast. So we need to produce food, more food, which, bring me to food security. And not production of food, but the quality as well, the nutrition. Now we are going through a climate change. Everybody is talking about. That's just climate change. Climate change exists a long time ago, because kind of variation. Some area we may try to see sort of change in terms of geography of production. So everything is kind of shifting. But it may be exactly the same thing as we used to have before, but a lot of things kind of shifting. And then that's what we are experiencing now. So Canada and Kazakhstan probably we go through the same challenge, and so we had to work together. So another thing, how to develop this kind of crop, adapt to what is happening now. If we used to grow, some crop in one area, it may shift to another area. But different crop will come to the current area. So we need to be careful and then see what's going on, the movement this kind of seasonal variation. So how do we mitigate the climate change? So Canada and Kazakhstan, they have very similar climate. I had an opportunity to spend the month of November last year in Kazakhstan, and then under the invitation of KATRU, Kazakhstan Agro-Technical University. And then I have discussion with all the researchers, the students, the faculty, and then outside, I have a lot of, discussion with industry, and then producer, all this kind of stuff. It's kind of very, very busy schedule for me. So I was able to deliver several seminars and then training for the university. And then you can see one of the pictures, on the right side. We're talking about some of the experience, the success of Canadian agriculture. And we do have challenge as well. So that is a discussion, round table. And I was having with the faculty, and then a lot of people were invited. And then currently, I'm co-supervising two PhD students attending KATRU University on crop improvement and cropping system. So another take, when doing research, how we do research, this kind of stuff can really, we can establish partnership. It's kind of established partnership, something we're trying to develop between the two institutions, University of Alberta and KATRU, Kazakh Agro-Technical University. So I gave kind of about 35 hours, training on the topic of method for scientific research, for PhD students. This is really great, and they really appreciate it. And then I can see, how they are very motivated, excited, this kind of stuff. This kind of stuff exchange between the research institutions, that is the key. Something we need to pay, attention to that one.
Thank you, Dr. Capuchichi. We're at the 1 minute limit right now.
Yeah, something to quickly to finish this one. So another thing also, I try to review some of the educational program for the institution, and then we develop our research proposal, and then we publish a lot of things. And then you can see I have a discussion. Some of the deputy would have love agriculture in the Kazakh deputy. You can see on the picture, and also have very good exchange. And then we explore a lot of things we can do together. So it kind of beginning of the partnership in terms of research, applied agricultural research between the two the country. I mean, probably that's all, and I would like to share with you. And then I will probably get in touch with Alia, who are looking for also partner. I think we can do a lot of things to improve the partnership between the two countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Scientific research and exchange of ideas and technologies is a very important part of agricultural production, and that leads us to the discussion of the importance of safety and plant protection, which is the topic of our next speaker, Rinat Fazilbekov from the Institute of Plant Protection. Mr. Fazilbekov is a seasoned professional. He's the head of the Department of Implementation and Commercialization of Scientific Research Institute for Plant Protection and Quarantine. This is an esteemed institution with a long history in Kazakhstan. Their work in new technology testing, high-tech industry solutions, and UAV remote sensing is at the forefront of agricultural innovation in Kazakhstan. Welcome, Mr. Fazilbekov. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll try to be very fast. We have a pretty modest project comparing to the others. And I'd like to say hello to everybody from the future. We're like 1 day ahead from Canada, right? I'm joking, of course. And yeah, the project called BioDrop, and we are developing it as Institute of Plant Protection as our own patented solution. So I'll try to share the idea. Yes, you probably know major thing about Kazakhstan. It's a country with a huge potential of agriculture. And we are the Plant Protection Institute. We're dealing with technologies to protect plants from diseases and pests. And we have a couple of branches in the northern and southern part of Kazakhstan. And we deal with serious threats like locust and the others. Also, we have a laboratory center. It's just sharing a little bit of our institute. And one of the major things today in plant protection today is how to make sustainable, how to make protection less harmful for the environment and for the health of plants and people, and to save biodiversity. So what we do, we produce the bioagents. That's one of our directions that we work on, and we develop new species, like introduce new species, study them, and we must produce and export them even. And the project BioDrop is a project that is related to major two things. That's biology and robotics. So we try to combine those things together. And the basic idea is to introduce or deliver the bioagents, the useful insects, to protect the plants from pests, from the drone, through the air, to the field, in an encapsulated way. So it has some advantages. It's a precision, it's safety, it's efficiency, potentially. It's a sustainability because it's no chemicals. and it can be also, we want to make it user-friendly. There is some solutions out there in the world, and recently we visited the Chinese Republic and we saw some solutions that they're doing as well. And our idea is we create our original shape, original mechanism, and original software. I mean, we're on train of doing this still, but we're using 3D printing and other manufacture technique to make it faster in prototyping and even to manufacture parts. And that's and we have a utility model patent on the project, and for the method and the device of this. Here you can see some examples. We come up with a special shape of the capsule that includes the bioagents inside in a form of larvae inside of the eggs of the host species that can be delivered to the field one by one, distributed in the field. And we have 5 companies that supported us in a big way. We won a grant, and 5 companies supported this grant as co-founders. And so what we do, you see the lab test, these tiny species from the tiny envelope, they are the bioagents. It's a trichogramma agent that we want to deliver to the field. And those are the prototypes of GPS and like the mechanism and everything. And here we made also some field testings as well. And yeah, basically that's a very small young team that is working on the project. And that's the current prototype. You see, it delivers the capsules of obviously that's a mock-up of the capsules. And that's pretty fun. And we believe that projects like this can be really important for the future, because if we can get rid of, at least at some point, get rid of chemicals for plant protection, we can introduce more species. And we as the institute, we produce those species that we can sell within this service or within this overall project as well, that can be interested too. That's a very short presentation, and for my opinion, where we can cooperate, maybe in Western companies and Canadian companies, what we are interested in, it's robotics, it's drone technologies. It is in general, drone technologies are developing, but this kind of a biological protection using drones is a kind of a new topic for Kazakhstan as well, and we see it as a very, very good potential sector where we can cooperate with probably Western companies too. So I'm very short. Thank you very much. This is our project.
Thank you so much, Renat. I think it's a perfect timing. I really appreciate that. And just a reminder for everyone, if you have questions, please feel free to use the Q&A platform of this webinar to ask questions. We will be getting to them towards the end. Now I will move on to our next presenter, Stephen Hume, who's the CEO of Prairie Eco Integrated Solutions, a company that delivers sustainable, environmentally friendly solutions to communities and businesses, continuing the evolution of risk management. Stephen, please take it away.
I'm just going to go in. Good evening. My name is Stephen Hume from Prairie Eco Integrated Solutions in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. We integrate technology solutions through vertical farming, greenhouse design to ensure education, food security, power solutions, cost efficiencies, job security, and economic impact. We are committed to build sustainable communities through educating. Our topic tonight is communities experiencing food insecurities. To address food insecurities in communities, several measures can be implemented. We need to support local farmers. Investing in local agriculture can boost food production and reduce reliance on imported foods. This can be done through production and reduce reliance on imported foods that through subsidies, training programs, and improved infrastructure. We can do food banks and assistance programs. We can establish food banks and assistance to provide food for those in need. These programs can be supported by government initiatives, NGOs, and private sectors. Education and awareness. We're promoting education on sustainable farming practices, nutrition, food management, can empower communities to make better food choices and reduce food waste. Community gardens. We are encouraging communities to start their own gardens so we can improve access to fresh produce and promote self-sufficiencies. Government policies, implementing policies that focus on food security, such as price controls, subsidies, and essential food items, and social safety nets that can protect vulnerable populations. Partnerships with NGOs and businesses. We can collaborate with nonprofit organizations and business to help scale up efforts to combat food insecurities and reach more people in need. By implementing a combination of these strategies, communities can work towards reducing food insecurities and ensuring that all citizens have an access to adequate and nutritious food supply. Through COVID-19, that has shed a lot of light on vulnerabilities in our global food systems and the importance of food security and sovereignty. Here's some key lessons that we have all learned. Resilience is a key. The pandemic exposed flaws in the global supply chain, highlighting the need for more resilient and a diversified food system to ensure access to essential items during crisis. Localized food production, emphasizing local food production can enhance food security by reducing dependence on international food supplies. Supporting local farmers and markets can help communities become self-sufficient. Inequality and access. The pandemic exacerbated food insecurity and vulnerable populations, underscoring the importance of addressing social inequalities to ensure equal access to food for all. Environmental impacts. The crisis highlighted environmental impacts of food production. Sustainable farming practices and reduced food waste are crucial for long-term food security and environmental sustainability. Policy changes. The governments worldwide have been promoted to reevaluate food policies to ensure food security for their populations, investment, and in agriculture infrastructure to support small-scale farmers that are essential for strengthening our food systems. By recognizing these lessons, we can take a proactive step to address food security concerns. We can better prepare for our future challenges and create more sustainable and equitable food systems for all. At Prairie, we focus on the future to help secure a higher quality of food. If you'd like to learn more, please reach out and we'd love to talk. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Stephen. That was a great presentation. Food security is at the top of everybody's mind around the world. And with that, I would like to transition to the next speaker, who is crucial in ensuring that, as part of the food security chain, Mr. Kanat Isetaev, chairman of the board of Union of Potato and Vegetable Growers. As I mentioned before, potato growers in Kazakhstan are one of the most resilient agriculturalists, and they've been, despite some setbacks, they've been on the steady rise production and improving the quality of production consistently. So with that, I'd like to transition to Mr. Isitaev. The floor is yours.
Микрофон был отключен. Я приветствую всех, кто участвует сегодня в этом
I would
мероприятии.
like to greet everyone who is participating in this event. In my presentation, I would like to dwell upon two things. First, speak about the establishment of potato growing farming in Kazakhstan, and the second issue is the challenges that Kazakhstani farmers are facing in cropping. Regarding the first issue, I would like to say that Kazakhstan during its history has been import dependent on potato. The potato was imported almost the whole winter and spring from other countries, previously from the Soviet Union republics and now from the neighboring countries. And at the moment, the potato growing in Kazakhstan is a sustainable sector in agribusiness. And we are not only ensuring and covering the entire domestic market with potato, but during the last 5 years, we are stably exporting a potato from Kazakhstan to other countries. And during these 5 years, the volumes of sales is about 320,000 tons of potato being exported. I believe that this is quite a good volume. The catalyst for the potato growing development in Kazakhstan was the fact that agribusiness in the north of Kazakhstan, which is characterized by very harsh climatic conditions, they saw the advantages in irrigation development. The Pavlodar Oblast of Kazakhstan, which is the central and northern part of Kazakhstan, Karaganda region, and other northern regions, the farmers started investing in irrigation. And by organizing irrigation, the potato is the most advantageous crop, and we started growing potatoes. And this started in early 2000, and now during the last 15 years, the average farmer involved in the industrial production of potato practically is no different from European or American potato growing. We provide irrigation by the American irrigation machinery, and the storage facilities are produced by European manufacturers. The only weakness for our successful potato growers is the selection of the seeds. Our local selection industry is significantly lagging behind the European companies. Therefore, we are 100% dependent on the selection of seeds in Europe. We have some ideas of how this can be improved, and we are working on that. In Kazakhstan, we would like to improve the system for inspection and selection of potato seeds so that the seeds that are grown in Kazakhstan are better trusted. We are now actively cooperating with research facilities to develop selection, not only in Kazakhstan, but also from other countries, including Russia. And we are prepared to collaborate with Canadian selection companies so that our domestic selection is also developed in Kazakhstan. And therefore, I believe that the rational and proper use of water that the northern Kazakhstan farmers are now engaged in resulted in successful development of potato cropping. The second thing that I would like to dwell upon is the challenges that the farmers in Kazakhstan face. And the key challenge is the climate change, of course. And we should bear in mind that the climate change in Kazakhstan is twice as quick as globally. And this is a serious challenge for us. And what we are doing to cope with it. The farmers in Kazakhstan are now setting 3 key tasks that have to be addressed so as to mitigate the challenges caused by the climate change and also caused by the politics, both globally and in our region, which results in the need to drastically reconsider our agribusiness. And as I said, we're setting 3 key tasks. The first one is the technologies, second, digitalization, and third, selection. As for the technologies, we came to a deep understanding, and many farmers who are dealing with cropping, we came to a firm idea that the technologies that we have used for the last 50, 60 years under the changing climate conditions are not suitable. So we have to develop, adapt, and introduce new technologies that are supposed to address the sustainable harvesting with least costs. Thank you very much. You don't have much time left. So we chose the path of geologization of soils and reduction of chemical load on soils. This year we are creating an NGO who will be dealing with these issues specifically and adapt the research solutions and practical practices available in other countries so that this could be adapted to our conditions in Kazakhstan. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are heading into the last stretch of our presentation. My apologies, we are at time, but so I really appreciate everyone's patience. If we can have 10-15 more minutes to wrap this up. Secondly, if you have any questions and answers, please use the feature to ask them. We'll make sure that we find a way for all panelists to get back to you, either during this conversation or maybe even later. Now, the last Canadian speaker, I would like to invite Dr. Jack Behan, who has a PhD in reproductive physiology and genetics from the Royal Veterinary College, London. He represents Herd Whistle, the company we heard about earlier today. So, Jack, please take it away.
Thank you very much indeed. I'd just like to say how pleased I am to be here with you all. And I'd like to thank the Kazakh Canada Business Council for allowing me to speak. I have problems with my internet, so I asked if Frank could post my images. It doesn't matter. If he'll allow me to stick to the salient points, I can talk in not bad English about what we are and what we do within Herd Whistle. First of all, as you said, we already have a partner in Kaumas, and I'm very privileged to have met, albeit virtually, Ashkat, and we're really pleased with the job that he's doing. You need to have pioneering people drive Canadian and Kazakh technology on either country. My own experience, being now quite an old man, is that if we don't have innovators, we don't get improvement. What we are at Herd Whistle is a Canadian company that manufactures all of its own products internally. It is involved in precision livestock and predominantly within the field of meat production. The 2 major species we work with are cattle and pigs. As we've already heard, there is a growing number of cattle within Kazakh, and my whole drive with Herd Whistle is to provide phenomic information to drive animal breeding and genomic breeding values. So we know that we can export, as we've heard from other speakers, various high-end genetic. What we need to do is to collect data on those animals when they're in Kazakh, with the normal environment that they're in, with the normal local nutrition that they get. And what we've created is a series of applications that work with deployment of hardware. So we have a multispectral camera range that does 2-dimensional analytics. We'll also read the tags that we make ourselves. We have ultra high frequency tags that can read up to a 30-meter distance and animals' individual identification. Essential and imperative when we're looking to improve livestock, to actually know which animals are doing what and how they're performing. We have also three-dimensional analytics that enable us to do weight of animals without touching them, without weighing them, non-invasively. We can also stitch together moving images of animals in 4D to enable us to ascertain the amount of meat. And thank you very much indeed for the slides. Skip through it. Don't worry about it, Frank. I think what I'll do is I'll skip to the salient points and people can look after. The presentation I prepared was far too long, so there we go. We also have the ability to be able to stitch together images to see the optimal slaughter weight of an animal. So we can see the meat, the fat, and the bone percentages. And then we have a technology which we have patented, which involves infrared evaluation of animals to give us a biosurveillance system. We have a 7 to 10 day notice period of the onset of disease compared to clinical signs seen by stock people. So what Ashkat very nicely summarized is issues with morbidity and mortality. So we believe our offerings of cameras in conjunction with our electronic identification enable us to not only see individual animal performance, but performance of animals within groups that can drive the acquisition of data, the aggregation of data, the analysis of data to action points. One other thing that I would mention is very interested to hear about the satellite technology. We also have cow collars that enable people to utilize through satellites, through electric fencing, so virtual fencing, grazing to a very high level of output. So our sole drive is money. Our sole drive is generating a better return on investment. I'm going to stop there because my time is up. So herdwhistle.com. And again, thank you very much indeed, everybody, for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. That was an excellent presentation. Wrapping up our session is Mahabat Salimova from Eurasia Group. Mahabat is a professional deeply involved in commercial aspects and marketing activities of in agriculture. She is also responsible for product development and customer consulting. Her expertise in after sales and communication is critical to both the industry success and the success of local farmers. Mahabat, over to you.
So, hi everyone. Today I'm gonna shortly to talk about like innovative solutions feeding and saving the world. So first of all, I wanted to start with our mission. Our campaign mission of Eurasia Group is like we feed the world by helping the farmers to implement and apply innovative solutions for development of agriculture and production of the highest quality goods. So today you can see the short information about Eurasia Group in Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan today. So we have like 600 talents that do like all the digitalizations work, and we share like 35% of market share in premium class, and also 6 million hectares are digitalized by John Deere solutions in Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan. So what kind of challenges we might face today is like growth of populations, soil erosions, and climate change, and etc. So that's why our company's business concepts looks like that. So first of all, we pay attention for Eurasia Water, like it's a department that we do like irrigation system engineering. The second one, Eurasia Vegetables, Eurasia Crop Care, Eurasia Education, when we do like studying farmers, employers, student education, and the most important part in our ecosystem is Eurasia Agri Solutions. What does it mean? It means that all the machines that we have, like agricultural equipment and after sales, and the most important part is Eurasia digital department. I work there. It means that all the unique intellectual digital solutions we implement in Kazakhstan and to show to the farmers and helping to develop it in Kazakhstan. And also we have Eurasia Farm Innovations is our unique farm when we do and use our digital systems, and Eurasia Livestock is livestock solution. The next one I wanted to show John Deere multi-purpose solutions is like we divide them for start and smart solution is tractors for 6 series, and 8 series is 8 and 9 series is smart solutions. The next one is just one sec is the best crop protection solutions. We have like smart series is M4000, Air series. All the John Deere equipment that we have in Kazakhstan is like start and smart solutions, and the best harvesting solution. The beginning for the farmers is start solution as W400 series, and smart solutions is as you see like S700 and W600. And the most important part in this and the best harvesting solutions that we can discuss about that is X9 solution that we represent in 2023 in our digital forum that we do in Baravoya is the best harvesting solution that we have. And this one is for forage harvesting. All the solution is smart, and please pay attention for digitalization development trend. So, for example, in 2019, our department, agro-management department, start with only 4 people. And after that, today we have 18 people that do all this digitalization in Kazakhstan, and we like improve our systems year by year. So, what we have? So we have telematics, digital machinery data as John Deere operation system, optical pass by Launchpad by Verge. The third one is Taranis, is like scouting of the fields, and the best solution for agriculture as Grime, John Deere, and GCB machines. We always monitor them, and accurate signals from John Deere systems, and also we using pestle instrument as meteor stations and crop protection agents as Eurasia Crop Care. The most important part is agrotech reports that we represent to the farmers to show them where the machine is gone and etc. And digital irrigation as Lindsay, and the newest in our company is soil analysis, is like in real-time soil analysis farm lab by Stan and company is a German company that showed us how to like make all this soil analysis in Kazakhstan. So this information of how we help farmers to save their money, for first of all, like using vessel instruments and using Taranis, for example, all these digital systems, and also we help them to grow their harvesting. For example, of this is variable rate application based on soil analysis. We did their soil analysis by Farm Lab, and after that we created variable rate applications. You can see there is from John Deere Operations Center that all this automatically, and there is.
Mahabat, I'm sorry, we're
Yes.
we're at approaching a limit, so just you know, got 1 minute.
So okay, so and there is like shortly in DVI using, and efficiency from growing utilization of solutions, and harvesting solution, how they like we efficiency 2% increased utilization by AfterTrack, using AfterTrack by John Deere machines. And there is also the numbers, how many days for harvesting campaign, efficiency, and etc. So the result, as you can see, we show them also yield growth, less carbon emission, and less soil compactations. So like 30 seconds of video. I have like 1 minute. Right?
Thank you, Mahabat. While the video is playing, I'd like to remind everybody we have a 5-minute Q&A session. If you have any questions, please send them by via chat, or you can email Frank with your questions, and we'll be happy to forward the questions to the speakers. With that, I'll pass the. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so thanks a lot. So for all the information you can see on our social media, Eurasia Group on Instagram, Facebook, and Agri Management site. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mahabat. Arij?
Well, thank you, Mahabat. That was a great presentation, and thank you to all the speakers. I know it's quite late here in Canada, and getting very close to the lunch hour, I guess, in Kazakhstan as well. So we appreciate all your help. Right now, we have one question in our Q&A, so we'll start with that. I'm using my Google Translate, and I'm guessing this question is probably aimed at Jack. So it says, good afternoon. Are there currently proven technologies for identifying livestock based on biometric data without human intervention? So I guess anybody, Kamas or Heard Whistle, can take a stab at this question. So we've lost both our experts in this field. But that's okay. I think so we can definitely take this offline, and we can make sure that we ask any questions that you may have. Margaret,
I have one more note. There's a raised hand from Tatiana Churchill. Tatiana, if you have a question, please text it via the chat, or forward your questions to organizers. Frank will be happy to answer it. I'm sorry, Margaret.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to say 4 comments to 4 speakers, if I can remember. For Aliya Svanova, I just wanted to say that we have a professor, Dr. Adamchuk, at McGill University, which is involved in agriculture and bioresource sciences and geospatial work with agriculture, and education. So I'm going to provide the contacts that I have to the Embassy of Kazakhstan here for transmittal to you. In terms of Richard Paisley's presentation, Richard, thank you so much. Our transboundary rivers are both provincial, territorial, as well as international. We have the Canada-US transboundary. So one of the models, because Richard spoke to solutions, one of the models is our International Joint Commission, and I'm sure Richard will get back to you on that one. And for Karat Bistayev, in terms of seed potatoes, some of our fabulous seed potatoes are in Prince Edward Island right now. They are working on soil issues with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. So whereas we were large exporters of seed potatoes from PEI, we've just stopped temporarily, but we will recommence. And again, I will give the contacts to the embassy here. And then when Mr. Bean, when you were speaking, you did not mention, nobody's mentioned in terms of quality of meat. Somewhere along the line, we've got feed rations. And so the Canadian cattlemen and anybody who's spoken before today will have information on feed rations, because you can measure the meat and you also want to make sure the quality is really good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Margaret. I think so that kind of brings us to a close. I see a hand with among the attendees too. So again, we encourage them to type in their questions through the Q&A, and we will make sure we get them to the appropriate experts and get an answer for you. With that, I would like to close the session from the Canadian side. Appreciate everyone's efforts. I think it is definitely on display that there is tremendous opportunities between the two countries. We are seeing some great collaboration already between Canadian and Kazakh companies, and I'm hoping this session will prove a stepping stone for further collaboration in the ag tech sector between the two regions. I will also encourage everyone to connect with the panelists on LinkedIn or any other social media platform that they prefer. And from my side, thank you again. It's really great to see how far our trading relationship has progressed from exporting genetics to live animals. Now we're talking about tech and how we can work collaboratively. So definitely we're going in the right direction. I would like to pass it on to Murat now.
Thank you, Arch. From my side, I'd like to add that I think the opportunities are clear. Kazakhstan is a great country with lots of opportunities in agriculture, and as we've seen from the speaker lineup, they range from seed genetics and animal genomics to space technologies. And I think both sides are ready to cooperate, and Canadian side is definitely ready to share technologies and knowledge and scientific research to support agriculture production in Kazakhstan. So I'd like to thank everybody for participation today, taking their time and through various time zones. And I'd like to thank you, our hosts, and my co-chair for this great session. And thank you very much.
And before we sign off, thank you, Murat. Thank you, Erez. Thank you both for being co-chairs. I think we did a remarkable job in an hour and a half, or an hour and 105 minutes, and getting through our program. A lot of interesting details, a lot of interesting things were brought up, and I really encourage everybody to get in touch with each other if you have an interest in the services or products or technologies or the research work. I'd be remiss if I just didn't close by saying a couple of things. One is that the Canada-Eurasia Business Association is a non-profit, non-government organization dedicated to promoting trade, business, research, education, interest between Canada and Kazakhstan and Eurasia in general. Our lifeline is based on memberships and missions, and I invite you to take a look at our website to see what kind of activities we are planning and doing, and certainly to consider membership in our association in order for us to continue to offer the kind of programs that you have been part of today. I also want to thank again everybody for being up late here in Canada and being early in the morning in Kazakhstan to make this a very successful event. Excellent presentations. And again, I will be in touch with people. If you're prepared to have your presentation shared, we will do that with the registrants, participants. We also have recorded this event, and after we do some editing and cleaning up of whatever spaces are in it, we will also make that available to everybody as well. Thanks to the co-chairs. Also, some people behind the scenes need to be thanked. I think I'd like to give an expression of thanks to Natalia Petrova, our translator. I think she did an excellent job, although I was also impressed by how many of us were speaking English as well. So that's really a change from even 10 years ago. Also, other people behind the scenes, I'd like to thank Vera Dedula, who is our IT specialist, but she's done a lot of work behind the scenes to make these events successful. So thank you, Vera. That's my colleague in Toronto. Alibek Sagidula, associated with the Kazakh embassy in Ottawa, was very supportive and very helpful with some networks and contacts. So thank you. Edouard Huat with the Canadian embassy in Kazakhstan was also extremely helpful. And the staff at Kazatomprom, particularly Zambota Alim Krolova, who worked with me throughout this last couple of months to make this a success. So thank you to Zambota. With that, I think we can call the meeting webinar to a close. Again, thank you, everybody, and look forward to being in touch with all of you. And as was mentioned, if you do have some questions or want to have a connection to somebody that was on the presentation list, please let me know, and I'll make sure the interaction is followed up. Thank you, everybody.